Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again. And to bring you into the video, this one's going to be doing a video talking about The Walking Dead, doing a viewer requested topic, and that is the idea of a zombie cure. Okay, so this was a discussion topic that was brought up in my video yesterday where we were talking about the possibility of whether or not humanity could actually recover from the zombie apocalypse in stories like The Walking Dead or in real life as well. That said, in The Walking Dead, it's pretty much been established that there are basically about 5,000 walkers to every one person, essentially one survivor, which obviously is an insane amount when you compare the two, and basically sounds like the battle is over and humanity is already lost. So the story is taking place after that's already occurred, and humanity is basically, at the point of no return. So people get to talking about whether or not the possibility of a cure could change those odds, could sway them in humanity's favor. Well, I don't think very much. Now, we have to separate it up into, different categories here. Are we talking a cure for what happens to people when they die, so whatever they're infected with in terms of like an airborne agent, so that when they die they will all turn into walkers? So are we talking for like a vaccine for that would stop that from happening, so when people die they just straight up die? Because in that instance, I don't really think that would make that big of a difference. And at the same time, it would be so hard to produce in a zombie apocalypse. I mean, in real life, it'd be hard enough to produce that by itself, where you have labs that are operating with electricity and power, you have staff, you have people that can work on this, on a daily basis without having to worry about being attacked by a zombie herd or the power going out or where they're going to find food or anything like that. That's straight up survivor mode, which is what we see in the series, both the comic book and the television series. Doing other things like that is like, they're just worried about survival, really. They're not even thinking about being proactive in developing things like that. Jenner may have been the person in the Walking Dead comic book series and television series that was probably closest to being able to even start anything of the sort, right? So that being said, if he wasn't able to do it, and it kind of sounds unrealistic that anyone else would be able to later on, unless we're able to get to a point where civilization could essentially be rebuilt, and you could have people living inside, let's say Rick's group at the Alexandria Safe Zone, or other groups where they could just work on that on a daily basis and not have to worry about food or survival, and the rest of the characters in the group could take care of that. A couple years down the line, I think that's a possibility. But right now, where we're at in both series, with Negan and the Walking Dead comic book series, and the television series with just straight up having to survive and find food and water and all these different things, it's not going to happen. Essentially, it's just it's not realistic to think that it would in those types of circumstances. Now, that being said, further on down the line, it's possible, but that in particular to that infection that they have where they'll turn when they die, even if they were to cure that, it still would not make that big of a deal. On the flip side, if they were able to create some kind of a vaccine or cure that would essentially stop them from turning when they get bitten, okay, you may have something there that may help a little bit, but I mean just a little bit, because you're still going to bleed and stuff like that. Plus, if you get mauled by a group of walkers, even if you've got this cure or whatever, you're still going to die from bleeding and things of that nature as well. So even in that instance, I don't think a cure would really be that big of a difference or make, it wouldn't really change the bigger picture. It wouldn't be like, oh, okay, now humanity can fight back and they'll win. World War Z is a movie that has expanded on this a lot, not the books, but the movie, and they brought in the idea of like a camouflage cure, where you'd have, characters that would be able to take this, and the walkers or zombies would not attack them. They would run right by them or not even pay any attention to them. If you were able to develop something like that, yeah, I mean, if you could, that would change the story completely and change the odds as well and make it a lot easier for those characters to survive. But at the same time, too, even though that's the case, they'd still have to be wary of other survivors in that world trying to take the resources, and they still would have trouble finding resources. So they'd be kind of struggling for survival as well too, although that one right there would change the odds in their favor a lot. Now, is that realistic? I kind of talked about this a little bit in my World War Z review. I personally don't think so. You know, them having something that walkers or zombies would not attack them when they'll attack horses and just any animal, any meat, right? They'll go after. Injecting yourself with something that would be like a repellent or something, I don't know, you know, like off spray for mosquitoes. I don't know. I mean, I don't really like that idea either. So for me personally, in terms of all the different ideas of cures for the infection or cures in a zombie apocalypse, for a story like The Walking Dead television series or comic book series, I personally don't like it. I don't like any of them because, number one, these characters are too concentrated on survival to be developing things like this. They don't have the resources to do it. They don't have, most of the characters don't have the intelligence to even begin to do things like that. I mean, when you consider all the things that are involved with developing these kinds of things, you know, cures for stuff and vaccines and all these different types of treatments, you need like a lab, you know, you need power, you need, you know, a good staff, you need educated people that are like your above bachelor's degree level, you need like your master's and PhD level biologists working on this kind of stuff and chemists and all that good stuff working together with, you know, your computer systems and your tools to be able to develop this kind of stuff. In a zombie apocalypse where you have 5,000 walkers to one person, I just, personally, I don't like the idea of a cure. I don't think it makes sense in any of those different ways I talked about. You know, the whole camouflage thing, I don't know. I mean, I guess if you want to say, like in your 28 weeks later, certain people are not able to become infected, they do not get attacked by walkers, then I can see if you would be able to develop it using their blood or something like that. But even still, I don't really like that idea to begin with, that they would be avoided, even if they're weaker and they don't want to be preyed on or whatever the case may be. I think it's too much of a stretch for me personally. The other ideas, you know, even if you could do them so that when you get bitten you don't turn, or when you die you don't turn, it wouldn't make that big of a difference. Because like right now, for example, in the comic book series in The Walking Dead, you know, almost nobody dies as a result of zombies. You know, it's all people killing people to try and get resources and to rebuild civilization. You know, Negan, he's becoming this like mob boss where he's offering people protection in order to get their stuff, you know, or he'll kill them if they don't, you know. So it's, for me personally, in those types of, in the Walking Dead comic book series and television series, I don't like the idea of a cure in any way, shape, or form. I don't think it's realistic that it would be developed. In other stories like World War Z and 28 Weeks Later, I mean, it worked out okay, I guess. What it really did was it helped separate them from other zombie stories in a lot of ways. But I don't think it would fit with The Walking Dead. And is it realistic to? I don't think so. I don't think it'd be realistic that people could develop that under those kinds of conditions. Where they're really just fighting for survival and fighting for their lives and resources. I don't like the idea of a cure. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about the idea of a zombie apocalypse cure in The Walking Dead, or even if a zombie apocalypse was to occur, let's say in, you know, real life, I guess, or other stories, and what your thoughts are on a zombie cure. I personally don't like it. One other thing I should mention is, some people will talk about, well, what if you could cure the ones that are infected that are already zombies so they could come back to life or whatever? That, to me, is totally bogus. I don't see any way that could be done. I mean, their bodies decay to such a level, such a degree, you couldn't possibly resuscitate them from that. It just wouldn't make sense unless they've just turned or something. It just... no, even in that regard, just no. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this topic, heavily interesting topic. Feel free to leave some comments below, do a video response if you like. Let's talk about it. The possibility of a cure in the Walking Dead comic book series or television series, I personally don't like it. I say no, and that's pretty much all I have to say. I'll call it here. That's it for this video, guys. I'll see you for the next one. This is Trev, and I'm saying peace.